Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new day where we have some news hot off the presses from Blizzard Entertainment with a look at the legacy of Arathor, the new patch coming to the War Within. This is going to be patch 11.1.7. Let's dive straight into this article. It says here, take your adventures further in the legacy of Arathor, our next content update. You'll amp up the challenge in Overcharged Delves, get a helping hand with a new combat assistant and single button assistant, and more. New Arathi Highlands campaign. While attentions have been focused on Khazalgar, a new storm is brewing in Arathi Highlands. Tensions are rising between the Horde and Alliance, join Faerun and Danath, as they attempt to quell the rising tides of hostility between two factions in a new multi-quest campaign. You'll get to experience this new 2-chapter storyline with branching viewpoints for each faction as you play through. Players will receive a few new rewards for their efforts. For the Alliance, you'll get the Stromguard Tabard. Horde, you'll get the Maghar Tabard. And Shoulder Transmog inspired by Faerun's own pauldrons. You can also go ahead and read and listen to this Heartlands 5-part audio novella before heading into this. This is going to be a nice little bit of story content. I'm cautiously excited about it. I think it's cool that we're getting something that is faction specific again. It's been a long time since that has been an option. A lot of the campaigns have been faction neutral, so it's just nice to have this one little thing that's going to change based on what faction you are. The next section here is Go Lorewalking with Lorewalker Cho. Players level 10 and above can speak with Lorewalker Cho in either Stormwind, Orgrimmar, or Durnagal for a renewed questing experience. You'll step back into some iconic lore moments in Azeroth with both previous quests and a few new ones. There are 3 available repeatable quest chains. One is Meet the Ethereals, travel to Netherstorm to fight Dimensius, meet up with Illyria and Locust Walker and Legion, and head into the Shadowlands to meet the Brokers and gain access to Tazavesh. You'll also meet up with Venardi. Number 2 is Experience Xal'atath's storyline. Learn more about the Blade of the Black Empire and Legion, see how Xal'atath gained her body in Battle for Azeroth, and go back in time to the Black Empire to experience Xal'atath's encounter with the Old Gods. And number 3 is Face the Past with Arthas. Return to Stratholme for a condensed version of the culling, feel the stinging cold of betrayal and wrath of the Lich King, and confront old memories as you step into the role of the Lich King as he faces down the heroes of Azeroth. While lorewalking, you won't be able to undertake any other quests, but you'll be able to exit anytime you like and return to Lorewalker Cho. This seems pretty cool. It seems like this is going to be something that is a curated story experience for the parts of the story that Blizzard thinks are either the most cool or most relevant to the future. I think especially with these first 2, meeting the Ethereals and experiencing Xal'atath's storyline, they're going through and making sure that players are refreshed on existing lore and then adding some additional context with some of these new quests. This is a cool thing if they can move this forward as a new feature they can expand upon. These 3 are a great way to start, but I'm excited to see what other things they can bring into curated quest lines through expansions so we can touch on all these story bits. Because there's a lot of parts of World of Warcraft's lore where the story can feel very fragmented as different threads are dropped and picked up from one expansion to another. For example, Xal'atath, right? She's been built up for a long time, but her story is broken between a handful of expansions. So being able to experience that all as one cohesive unit is going to feel great. The next thing on here is the Overcharged Delves. Things are about to become even more dangerous in Delves for you and Bran. We're introducing a new Delve-specific affix to 6 Delves to push you to new feats of heroism, or to earn more shiny loot. These are going to be Kriegval's Rest, Skittering Breach, the Spiral Weave, Nightfall Sanctum, Fungal Folly, and Side Street Sluice. I love a lot of these delves. I've never been the biggest fan of Kriegval's Rest, but you know, the rest of them are really cool. Side Street Sluice in particular is a beautiful new delve that they've added here. It says we're going to engage with rare new enemies, more traps, and unlock traits in a new trait tree specific to these. So it says here at the bottom there's some additional new rewards. The first one is this Titan Disc Belt, which is going to be unlocked at the start of the event and upgraded through a weekly quest. I wonder if this is a sort of like the Siren Isle ring, as in a piece of gear that you have and use in all types of content, or something that's only going to be useful in delves. We also see a new mount, which is going to be an overcharged mech suit. Sounds really sick. New gear and more delves currency. I'm curious to see what sort of way this will impact things. If it makes the delves notably harder, I wonder if this would be a way to start having the idea of unlocking myth gear on a weekly basis through the vault for doing these type of delves, or if this is something that is just more variations on the same type of gear. The next section here is new UI options, Combat Assistant and Single Button Assistant. Combat Assistant is a new feature coming to the game that highlights the recommended next ability based on resources and the situation your character is in. This feature is designed to help new players who are trying out a new specialization, or those looking for additional guidance on the abilities they should use without the need to turn to third-party apps or outside guides. This new feature is configured as an additional option that is part of the base UI to assist you with the damage rotation no matter what specialization you're using. In addition, a single button assistant can be used to cast the next recommended ability in the sequence. This assistant is designed to have a small additional global cooldown added between abilities so that it's still useful for learning new skills, aiding those who are looking for additional help or those who want to experience the story or game on a more casual basis. It will also detect when an area of effect spell or multi-target ability should be used. Both of these new options should aid in lowering the barrier of entry for new players, or players looking to explore new characters in a way that's meaningful to them. As with the new cooldown manager added in the 11.1.5 content, it will continue to evolve over time. These two features are really cool. The first one is the one I'm more interested in, which is this Combat Assistant, especially whenever you're leaping into a new class or spec that you've never touched before. Having it as a rough guide as to like what buttons you should be pressing can help you get used to that and eventually go without it. Because I think something that's going to be obvious is using these will help a lot of people. It's not going to be as optimized as just knowing the class yourself. However, increasing that skill floor, I think, is a worthwhile thing to do. And then the single button assistant, which is a separate thing, which has this small additional cooldown added between the abilities, preventing it from being too optimal. It's really good as an accessibility feature for people who aren't able to play the game normally to have this option. I've also seen some people that I talk to are excited to use this whenever they play WoW on a Steam Deck or if they use a controller, just something to help simplify the game for them. This next one's new, and let's focus on the wording here. The Greedy Emissary returns. Later during this content cycle, we'll be bringing back the Greedy Emissary event. During this event, you'll be able to encounter even more of these deviously greedy emissaries in Stormwind, Orgrimmar, Dornogal, and Undermine for new diabolical rewards, including a mount. You won't want to miss some of the truly iconic rewards, including recolors of classic tier 2 armor sets for your characters. These look really sick. It says down here, alongside this event, we are also providing a collector's bounty buff, which will aid players in the hunt for legacy loot by increasing drops in legacy content throughout Azeroth. We'll share more details when we are closer to its release. I'm curious what this is going to be, because this sounds cool. Notably, it does say later during this content cycle. Last time we saw this was with the current patch 11.1.5, where some of the stuff doesn't come out for a month or a month and a half into the patch. So we're probably looking, if this comes out mid-June, like what I've been predicting, then Greedy Emissary specifically will likely see it around the end of July, early August. These recolors look sick. Let's just start with that. Like this sort of like blood fell inspired, like a blood knight almost for a paladin looks really cool. These recolors here, you got your death knight, your mage, and your hunter. This is a really cool hunter recolor, very black dragonflight sort of aligned with. I'm very excited for that set specifically. These sets look cool as well. I mean, look at that monk set. Who's not going to love that? The shaman set looks cool. The evoker set, shame you won't be able to see it most of the time, but it's cool. Here you got warrior, druid, and priest. As a druid main, love this like fire-inspired druid variation of the set. and then Rogue, Demon Hunter, and Warlock. Again, 3 really cool sets. The Rogue set's really iconic. To see it built up again in this way, where it's all shadowy and mysterious, another win. And then this end here, which says a collector's bounty buff, which will aid players in the hunt for legacy loot by increasing drops in legacy content throughout Azeroth. I'm curious what that's going to mean. Like, will this increase mount drops, like people who've been hunting for Invincible's Reigns or Onyxia's Lair, like that sort of stuff? I'm gonna be honest, very excited for this. Unfortunately, though, it's gonna happen late into the patch cycle, which that sucks. The next thing here is, during this update cycle, we're releasing Turbulent Timeways with the addition of Battle for Azeroth in the rotation. This event will span 6 weeks, beginning and ending with Battle for Azeroth. So they're going to have 6 new time-walking dungeons available for players to undertake. These are going to be at Taldazar, Freehold, King's Rest, Shrine of the Storm, Temple of Sethralus, and Waycrest Manor. Players can also shop at a new Battle for Azeroth vendor that can be found in the harbors of Bralis and Jazara lore. Master the Timeways, and you can also earn the new Chrono Corsair skywriting mount and more. To start off, really cool that we're getting Battle for Azeroth added into the time walking rotation. Love to see it. And we've seen Turbulent Timeways before. It's always cool every time it pops up. The big thing is that it always comes with an achievement that you have to participate in the event for usually 4 of the 6 weeks to get a mount. It looks like that's going to be this Chrono Corsair skywriting mount, which a pirate infinite dragon looks really sick. I'm very excited for that, actually. And during this time, if you're not doing the leveling of it now, this is going to be another great way to get some leveling done. I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited about it. Overall, this patch feels like there might not quite be enough again. I'm worried that it's going to be a repeat of 11.1.5. We'll see how this stuff's spread out. And maybe that changes, right? Because we're getting dynamic duos and horrific visions later into this patch. So maybe with those being this new delayed release that they're doing, we'll still be playing those when this patch comes out, so it won't feel as wonky. I'm curious to see how that actually all pans out, how it all feels. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm genuinely interested to see what you guys think with this new sort of patch release they're doing, because it seems that Blizzard is trying to move to having something new every month for you to do and delaying some of the release, which feels bad initially, but maybe it'll feel better as it becomes the norm, because instead of right now, we're just experiencing the delay, where later we will just have something every month, and maybe that's cool. If you liked this video, give me a like down below. If you didn't like it, downvote it. If you want to see more of my videos that are coming out around the corner, please hit that subscribe button. We got some good guide content coming down the pipeline that I've been working on, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a wonderful day.